Well, more about the mighty Killing Joke in about the next 15-20 minutes. We wanted to start with that classic because it's a shared favourite of myself, Gary Crowley, and also my favourite cabin boy, Jim. And welcome along. Welcome along. What can I say? Mike Scottish Post Punk has literally just tweeted at GC Punk and New Wave. Killing Joke. What a start, chaps. Yeah, always was going to be that one this afternoon, Jim, because we've been asking since this morning for your, for basically your favourite punk and new wave and reggae shows that you would love to take us back to and also to relive. We'll talk a little bit more in depth about some of our favourites as this 2 hours unfolds. But you haven't said anything about my Captain Haddock from Hergé's Adventures of Tintin. Rollneck, suitably seaworthy for you. Yeah?
I hope I'm not. What was the dog name in Tintin?
Snowy.
So I hope I'm not Snowy.
I don't know. You've got the part. Well, we'll talk about your dog. I'm sure he'll crop
Johnny
up.
Lahat.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll crop up over the next couple of hours. But listen, if you want to join in this afternoon, we would love to hear from you. We've had a terrific reaction on Facebook this morning. We are at Crowley on Air on Facebook, and if you want to join in via the Twitter sphere, I can't be asked to say. Is it X now, isn't it?
Yeah, formerly known as Twitter.
It's always going to be Twitter for me, but if you do want to tweet or X along, whatever the saying is, we are at GC Punk and New Wave. We're going to keep our foot on the acceleration pedal by playing some classic Buzzcocks up next. Of course, Jim, Friday the 22nd of March, unfortunately you're not going to be here to see it. They're going to be playing at Coco.
40th anniversary.
Over there in Camden.
Singles Going Steady.
Yeah, that's right. 40 years since the release
of
Gary,
that. I was talking to someone today and talking about that. In 2 years' time, it'd be 50th anniversary of punk. That's how scary is that?
Well, great. That's really depressed me, that is. I'm going back home to get in bed. Anyway, talking of the Buzzcocks, we're going to play some Buzzcocks, and then Jim's got a little surprise to lob your way.
Do I?
And then there'll be more chat after that.
Don't let it get me down. live together. Shack up, baby, shack up.
I'm almost 100% certain that, you played that in a club now. That would keep the dance floor bubbling, wouldn't it? Yeah. And you were saying, whilst we were enjoying that, Jim, that was a big favourite of yours and your pals
Totally
who
Wired.
did, the Totally Wired night, which I'm sure
The
some of our older listeners would remember.
Yeah.
The Powerhouse in Islington.
Most of them are in a retirement home by now.
I saw some great gigs there.
Yeah. We had like I think first gigs by the Verve in
Playing
London.
the Totally Wired night?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
I mean, Adrian Gibson, who you know,
Yes,
used to book the bands. I mean, it was always an alternative,
Yeah. I saw the Charlatans at the Powerhouse on a Thursday night. Would that have been the Totally Wired night?
Friday night was the Totally Wired night.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, right. I definitely saw them on a Thursday, and that was, just as they were kind of coming through.
I saw them.
Indian Rope had come out, I think, and all the record companies were trying to sign them.
Yeah, no, I saw them at the Manor House in Tufnell Park. Like that was a really early gig.
Yes.
Of theirs. Yeah, they were good.
Now, listen, welcome along. So that was a certain ratio, of course, and Shack Up. Sorry about that beginning, but Jim unfortunately leaned over and jogged the CD player. So he's going to be the blame hound for the next
I'm sure
hour
they can see that I'm nowhere near.
Minutes.
I'm nowhere near.
The thing is, I don't see him for a month, and then of course when we get together, there's all the gossip to catch up with. So I'm blaming Jim anyway. Ahead of a certain ratio, it was the Buzzcocks. And I think it's fair to say, Jim, for both of us, a favourite Buzzcocks track, written by Steve Digger, of course, and Steve. And, I guess his version of the Buzzcocks are going to be live on Friday, the 22nd of March. We've got me and I've got a big group of friends who are coming along for that. But stick that one in the diary. If you've yet to get your tickets, get in there. Wouldn't be surprised if that was a sellout. Friday, the 22nd of March, all roads leading to Coco.
And they're doing the singles going steady in its entirety.
40 years. I cannot get my head wrapped around that.
Be interesting to see though, because Pete Shelley's voice is quite high pitch, so be interesting to see how Steve will cope with all those with all the old numbers.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. Well, I've seen them. I mean, I've seen them a
Oh.
couple of times when
But they must be doing
with
many
Steve.
new stuff, no?
Well, it's kind of like a mixture of the of obviously the classics, the songs
Yeah.
that we've grown up with, but also a fair smattering of the songs that have
stuff.
been on the last couple of albums
Yeah.
as well. Listen, if you have just joined us, welcome along. Just a little nudge, a little reminder. What we've been asking on our social media outlets since this morning is we've been asking you for your favourite punk and new wave and reggae shows that you would love to jump into the TARDIS and relive. I mean, before we start reading out, and we've had an amazing reaction as always. We love your memories. It's what makes the programme. Jim, let me ask you of the ones that kind of spring to mind.
Well,
as far as the shows that would be the ones that you, if you could, travel back and relive once more.
Can I talk? The two that I've chosen on the collage that we've done this morning. Killing Joke at the Lyceum.
Killing Joke at the Now, I'm going to interject there if I can, only because I don't know why or how this happened, how they slipped through my net. I never saw Killing Joke. So take us back.
Well, I mean,
Paint a picture.
The most memorable,
like only you can.
The most memorable. I hope no one's eating at the moment. But the most memorable thing was like it was Fat Gadget on first, then it was Discharge, who were like kind of like really hardcore punk band. But the lead singer from Discharge threw up on stage on purpose. On purpose.
It was punk.
And then I remember Killing Joke won't come on stage until that was clean and the little carpet was placed on where he.
Understandably, I'd be the same.
I mean, it's just the kind of the drums, youth bass. I mean, you can imagine. Even hearing the tracks nowadays, you can hear the power. So imagine it at the venue, at the Lyceum, which is not a massive venue. It's just it's amazing. Just amazing.
Was that one of those legendary Sunday night bills?
I can't remember. I
Right.
mean, I've got it's the gig I went to is the one I posted, so we can just check the date. But the other one was the Damned at the Hammersmith Odeon, and all I remember the gig was great, but I remember it was the gobbing period, and Captain Sensible at the end of the gig, you couldn't see him from a blob of gob on him because he was just asking people to gob on him.
It was never one of my
my
favourite
Gary,
aspects.
Just let me explain one thing as well. At both those gigs, I was at the balcony.
Yeah.
I was at the balcony.
I heard you were in the Royal Box.
No, yeah.
Right, okay.
But then I wanted to choose the Pale Fountains at a gig that I've realised, after talking to you, that we've both been to around 1981, 82. When was it?
Yeah,
It's first single.
I would say 1982 because I think the first time that I ever saw them live was at the ICA, and I can remember Jeff Travis being there and Seymour Stein from Sire. So they might have done that first
I thought
single.
the first one was the one we've seen together. Well, the one I'm talking about was the a venue which is a great
Jim,
venue.
I can't even remember what I had for breakfast this morning. You're
I
asking
didn't
me
have
about
breakfast,
40
so
years
I
ago.
remember.
Yeah.
No, but basically, I
Let it
because
go,
I was
honey.
a massive fan of the first single when John Pill played it, and that was it. It was a place that. Great venue. It was called The Venue, and it was in Victoria, not the venue in New Cross.
I'm sure
which
so
basically
many people would have great
which
memories
basically
of
had
it.
mirrors. It was a small venue.
Yeah.
And he
It's
had
an old
mirrors.
cinema, I think.
Yeah, and he had mirrors all over the walls. Remember that, and
That's why you used to go to look at your reflection, because he was so attractive at that time. He was kind of like, he was kind of like London's answer to Dorian Gray. He was so pretty that he would only go to clubs where he could bask
Look
in
at
his
yourself.
reflection.
I tell you, talking about
Who's that handsome
talking
fella?
about
Oh, it's
that,
me.
Johnny Lahat, my little puppy. He found the mirror in one of the bedrooms, and he actually jumps on the bed in that bedroom and looks at himself in the mirror, adoring himself. So sweet.
Blessed. You've got to bring him in for a programme,
Well,
maybe.
yeah.
Over the
Mate, I don't know if
summer.
you'll 2
That'll
hours.
get us an extra
2
listener.
hours. It doesn't have the patience,
Yeah,
we
could be top of the pops in the canine
yeah,
charts.
I know. Yeah. But anyway, so
You're going to get reading.
So that was mine. We'll hear about yours later. Yeah,
Yes.
First on Twitter at GC Punk New Wave. Birmingham 81 was first today. Roberto was only second. Gang of Four, Perubu, and Delta 5 at Oxford's New Theatre on the 29th of March 1981. Still one of my all-time favourite gigs, and he posted kind of like an ad for the gig. And then came Roberto Ferdenzi.
Good old Roberto.
And he says, "Hi, gents. Guess what he's choosing? Too many to choose, but one gig sticks out. In December '92, I saw Morrissey live at Ali Pali, and supporting him that night was Kirsty MacColl, who was joined by a surprise guest, Shane MacGowan, and together they sang Fairy Tale of New York, which was utterly amazing." Then Blah 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 comes into the picture, and he goes, "The Clash, Newcastle, Mayfair, June 1980. First time I saw them, 6 months after London Calling was released. Mikey Dread on stage with them. It was just mesmerizing and still the best gig I've ever been to. I've got a rough audience recording, and it was just mayhem."
Yeah, I never went to Mayfair, the Mayfair in Newcastle. I went to a Newcastle City Hall. I've been to Newcastle City Hall a few times, but I know friends who say that the Mayfair in Newcastle
Was a
like
good venue.
Barbarella's in Birmingham,
Yeah.
was something very, very special. Yeah.
Right, just one more for me and then over to you. Crawford Smith goes, "Come on, you two. That's like asking who's the best football to ever grace the game."
Yeah, that was
But
Jim's
since-
question, Crawford,
Yeah.
not me. Nothing to
But
do with
since
me.
you've asked nicely, Buzzcocks with support from Joy Division, I'm jealous already,
Yeah.
at Edinburgh Odeon, October 79. Most recently, however, perhaps the original Sham 69 lineup with support from the Angelic Upstarts.
Okay, right. So, something for all the family, as they say there. Let's cross over to...
But that's a recent one, so I bet everyone would be in the 50s, at least, at the venue.
Yeah, I saw Sham once. I mean, I mentioned this before. I saw them supporting the Clash at the Finsbury Park Rainbow.
Did I tell you my Jimmy Percy story?
No, can you tell me
quickly,
during the record?
No,
Because
I'll tell you now because it's. So we were at the gig at the Borderline. I can't remember who the gig was. Me and Karen, and I you recognise Jimmy Percy. He was like standing there to my left, and kind of like every time I looked, he was getting nearer to me, a step nearer. I was going to get a bit scared. A step nearer. Then he comes to me and he goes, "I know who you are." I was going, "Who?" He's going, "You're the guy from the Inspiral Carpets," and I was going, "Jimmy, I'm not, but I know who you are. You're Jimmy Percy." And just like he left.
Well, he wasn't the first.
Probably came to ask for a support slot.
He wasn't the first.
That was about that time, 89, 1990, when the Inspirals were big.
Yeah. Jim looked like the sixth member.
Yeah.
Anyway, crossing over to Facebook. If you want to join in on Facebook, it's never too late. We are Crowley on Air on Facebook. A pal of mine, Stuart, was the first to post on Facebook this morning. He said, as far as reliving, one of those all-important gigs for him, it would have been the GLC Jobs for a Change Festival, which happened at County Hall down there on the South Bank back in June of 1984. A free entry event on the Thames, and it had the mighty Redskins, Billy Bragg, the Smiths, all headlining. How's that for a bill, Jim? He says, listen to this, it had violence, beer, vegan food, and the best array of differing haircuts I've ever seen. Red Ken did very well. This wide-eyed 17-year-old Norfolk casual had not taken in such delights before in an outdoor setting, and that's been a very, very popular post, that one. Steve Carver, afternoon Tufty, if you're listening, he says the Clash, the Jam, the Rainbow back in 1977.
The
Clash and the Jam, and also I think I'm right in saying, Steve, the Slits and the Buzzcocks and the Perfects.
Wow,
I think we're on that.
What was that?
Or the Prefects were on that build that day. He says the newspaper headline the very next morning screamed "Punk Wreck." Brilliant times, GC.
Gary, can I quickly read a few short ones from another option to message us?
Yeah.
Is on
Get it out,
Mixcloud
Jim,
on the live. If you're listening on Mixcloud. So just quickly, Alex Gary Glasgow says, "Ahoy mateys, hope the boat is securely moored for today's pogo session." Stevo Music Man says, "Afternoon GC, nice start." Well, Jim. Alex Geary from Glasgow goes again, "I have followed the leader on a 10-inch, possibly my only 10-inch single." Heaven's Mixtape says, "Good afternoon from the Highlands." Ian 1963 says, "Afternoon Jim and you, Gary." That's the way, Ian. That's the way. Wilkes,
Proper respect.
Yeah, Wilkes 65 GC, the right knitwear for boating. Looking forward to hearing some gems. And then Ian 1963 says cracking start. I presume that's the
It's
Killing
all
Joke.
downhill now.
Yeah, and then Wilkins saw the president saying, after seeing the Captain Haddock polo, I'm thinking abandoned ship, April showers.
Love it. Okay,
Anyway,
well done. Keep these coming in. As I said, on Facebook, we are Crowley on Air. On Twitter, at GC Punk New Wave. The gigs that you would love to relive and why. All the usual places are open.
Was that your stomach curry?
Is that your breakfast?
Was that your
Back to the music, and then I'll talk a little bit later on about those legendary early two-tone tours. This will get us in the mood.
body, some boys let them be. Some boys never exercise and some boys break his I take a shower and I wash my hair, then put talc on my body to make sure I don't smell anywhere. Some boys don't inspect their bodies, some boys let them be. Some boys never exercise and some boys spread disease. Some boys never wash themselves, they have filthy their breath smells. Some boys never clean their teeth or change their underwear. I used to be like this till that night when I met Chris. He gave me a bar of soap and showed me how to use it. Oh, some boys don't inspect their bodies, some boys let them be. Some boys never exercise and some boys spread disease. Some boys never wash themselves, their heads filthy, their breath smells. Some boys never clean their teeth or change their underwear. I used to be like this till that night when I met Chris. He gave me a bar of soap and showed me how to use it. Yes, he did. Tell him, Chris. Some boys, bad boys, talking about the sad boys. Some boys, some boys, some boys.
You are listening to the GC Punk and New Wave radio show via our friends, our groovy friends on the Boat Pod. We're coming live, well, as live as we can get, via the beautiful, the sumptuous surroundings, Jim, of the Paddington Basin. And Jim's promised, actually, that if we have another glorious summer, he's going to go swimming out there, aren't you? And impress all the girls and the boys.
Really,
With his,
you really want to scale the locals, yeah?
Jim's still wearing swimming costumes that were bought for his grandfather back at the turn of the last century, but they'll come back in fashion at some point.
That's why I'm wearing them.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
It's just a matter of waiting. That's all.
Yeah.
Jim, good call. Tell us about Going
Well,
Red.
Going Red was basically
Some boys.
basically Graham Fellows. One of his many disguises, Jilted John, of course. He only released one single under the name Going Red. I'll show you the cover. It's basically Graham Fellows in the shower. Gary? Graham Fellows in the shower, having a shower with his clothes on. But yeah, I mean, it's just the perfect pop song, really.
Yeah, it really is.
And it came on a major
So
label.
poppy.
Well, no, it came on the same. So he was also in the Freshies. So it came on Raz Records through MCA Records, which is the same label that released all the Freshies singles, Raz.
Okay.
But I bought it at the time after hearing it, of course, on the one and only John Peel. And I just forgot about it. I just listened to it the other day, and it's pure
Oozes power pop, doesn't it?
But it's like pure pops. Yeah.
Jim, ahead of Going Red, we heard The Selector, of course, the infectious grooves of The Selector, and the title track from their debut album, Too Much Pressure, from 1980. And I wanted to play The Selector, Jim, because the first time that I would have seen The Selector would have been on the very first two-tone tour. And, when you suggested asking the question that we've asked today, the gigs, the concerts that you'd love to relive and why, that was one that immediately sprung to mind. In fact, there was a couple of versions. I was talking about this to a friend the other day. I do have another friend, Jim. And we were talking about that first two-tone tour, and there were a couple of versions of that tour, because initially...
Let me interrupt
if I
you.
can finish,
Did you see,
I'm on a roll.
Did you see the specials first at the pub in Hampstead?
I saw...
Was that before or after?
No, the first time that I think I saw the specials, and again, it's such a long time ago. I mean, I can remember all the gigs, but I can't remember the chronological order.
Right.
It might have been, Jim, when Madness supported them at the Nashville.
No, the one.
Well, then I saw them.
Oh.
I saw them on the eve of the election in
that's
1979 at the Moonlight Club.
Surely that would have been like an early gig.
That
because
was
it's a
early
tiny,
days.
tiny venue.
That was
Tiny
early days.
venue,
And
yeah.
then then not long after, they were
Right.
off on the two-tone tour
yeah.
with the Selector, the Mighty Selector, and
Beat.
what a revelation they were. The Beat, and then, as I said, and then it kind of sort of evolved a little bit. I think Dexys did a few dates on the first two-tone tour, as of course did Madness.
Yeah.
As
but
well.
Madness did release a single on two-tone. The Dexys never did.
No.
You know.
No, not sure any reason, why. If anybody knows, please feel free to reach out and enlighten us. But so that was, those gigs. You never saw any of the two-tone tours, did
No,
you, Jim?
no.
I mean, they
I
were
saw the
so...
Polonaise, but they were signed to two-tone
That was a
later
little
on.
bit later,
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
it? But they were so celebratory, and it's funny when I think back to those two-tone tours. Like a lot of the bands that we would have gone to see back in 1978, 9, and 1980, the audience, Jim. The audience, you're listening to me,
Yes,
are you
I am,
awake?
yeah.
They were so young.
Oh, yeah.
They really, really were. And,
I mean, there's a few things on
if you
YouTube.
hadn't have been in, the venue in Victoria, basking in your reflection in those mirrors, you would have learned something.
No, but I mean, it's like watching some of the clips of the specials playing in the early days on YouTube, and the crowd is like literally 12,
They
13,
are.
14.
They really, really are.
But they
Yeah.
did a lot, also the two-tone gigs. They did a lot of under 16.
They did
dates.
do a lot of under
Because
18
I remember there
shows.
was one at the
Yeah.
there was one at the Lyceum which I couldn't make, which I wanted to go to.
Yeah, but you're too old.
Too old. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's called a pregnant pause there. Come on, Jim. You meant to pick up the
Oh,
slack
well,
there.
that's all right. No, I'm
Go
just
on.
enjoying.
Yeah, but
yeah.
it was I was so lucky, Jim, because I was on the reception at the here he goes. I was on the reception at the NME in 1979. So I knew the press officers
Yeah.
at Chrysalis Records. A couple of lovely guys and girls there, Hugh and Chris, and I think Julia a little bit later on. But I was able to get onto the guest list, Jim,
Wow.
for a lot of these shows. So the Hammersmith Palais and also going to see the two-tone tour outside of London, the Hemel Hempstead Pavilion. I'm sure I went to Friars in Aylesbury. I definitely saw the two-tone tour down in Bournemouth as well. They were just absolutely amazing. The energy was just off the Richter scale.
I wish I was there, Gary. But anyway, do you want me to read a couple more from...
I would like you to, yeah.
Okay. See, Roberto Fidenzi is coming back with, in 2003, the English Beat original lineup, minus Cox and Steele, played a sold-out one-off gig at the Royal Festival Hall. This was one of the best gigs I have ever experienced. Hearing Best Friend played live was orgasmic.
Yeah.
Mark says, Susie and the Banshees, The Cure and the... let me cough there. And the Scars in Aberdeen, September 79. Two Banshees... quit that afternoon after arguing in a local record shop. So the
yes.
group couldn't play that evening. The Cure did an extended set.
And didn't Robert sort of step up though, and he played?
Well, he said the Cure did an extended set. Susie came on stage and ranted, and we got our money back. So they got to see like an extended set by the Cure and the Scars and got the money back. That's not bad. Ian Trainer says, morning guys, I'd love to go back to 1979 and see the Jam at the Rainbow again. I'm pretty sure, were you there?
I saw a lot of the shows at the Rainbow. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was my first time at the concert and was so excited by it all. I can barely remember. I can barely remember it.
Ian, just to interject, Jim. Ian, do you remember who the support bands were the night that you saw the Jam at the Rainbow? Because again, if my memory serves me correctly, Department S supported one night. I'm sure the Chords might have done, maybe the Purple Hearts as well. But be interested to know if Ian remembers.
But he says, I can barely remember it, he says. But he goes after, if you can arrange this, I promise to pay more attention this time. That's to seeing him again. Dan Timmons says, GC, big fan from Minnesota. We're big over on the other side of the Atlantic.
We're getting out there, Jim.
Yeah.
Honestly, this is going to be our year. I can feel it in my bones.
Yeah. Saw the Clash in 1979 in St. Paul with the Undertones and David Johansen from the New York Dolls. Wow. All I remember of the Undertones was them sitting right by us to watch the Clash. I'd love to go back in time to hear Teenage Kicks. And then Joe Miller says the iconic Glasgow Apollo, the Clash, the Jam, the Stranglers, Damned, Ramones, etc. Susie and the Banshees at Tiffany with support from the Scars and Altered Images. Great lineup. Plus all the gigs I went to, especially when young and had too much to drink.
Okay, lovely. Keep
Great
those
stories,
memories coming
great
in,
stories.
and we will read them out. We're with you all the way through until 6 o'clock. It is GC Punk and New Wave on the Boat Pod, and if you do want to reach out and share your memories and tell us the concerts that you would love to relive and why, under the Punk and New Wave and Reggae umbrella, we are all ears. On Twitter, we are at GC Punk and New Wave, and on Facebook, we are Crowely on Air. Now, some sad news to report now, Jim, and I was messaged last week by Jerry Lamb, who's a friend on Facebook, and Jerry, of course, we know through his work that that he did with the Skunks, and he reached out to me and said, I'll read it. Gary, sad to report that Hugh Ashton, the musician involved in Dante, the Skunks, Craze, Hardcore, and also the Sun Kings, sadly passed away and was laid to rest following a long illness. Would be nice if you could maybe mention it on the show and perhaps play a track. That one from Jerry from the Skunks. Well, our thoughts go out to the Skunks family and of course Hugh's family and friends. And Jim, this is the record that I know for both of us, because we both wanted this on the very first Punk and New Wave compilation. This is the track that immediately springs to mind when we think about the Skunks. So in memory of the band's Hugh Ashton, this is the classic Good From the Band on the Boat Pod.
Get me wrong. I wanna help you along.
signs, when the sun shines, I think that we're like a big game of snakes and ladders. And you said jokingly, maneuvering with repetition. But come on, what's that feeling? Competition. It's not happening no more. She's like the pouring rain. It's not happening no more. 'Cause she's like the pouring rain. It's not happening no more. She's like the pouring rain. It's not happening no more. She's like the pouring rain. It's not happening no more. 'Cause she's like the pouring rain.
Oh! The power, Jim. The power. It's lost none of its oomph. Why is it still playing?
I know.
The power, Jim.
Oh, there's a delay.
No, do you know what? I'm listening. Hold on. Why is it still playing?
I know.
That's a little bit weird. That's a little bit weird. But we know that our technical department.
Oh, I'll tell you what, Gary.
Oh, on
I'm
top
sorry.
of it.
It's my fault.
Oh, Soph, sack him, please.
I'm listening on.
Mitzi, you're up. Come on.
I didn't
Come
know
on,
it was.
Mitzi.
Yeah. Oh God.
Oh, really?
What did
I
I
mean,
do?
this was the show, girls, that,
That was
I,
gonna win
that
the.
I was going to
gonna win
suggest
for
would
the
win us a Gillard.
a Gillard.
Is it a Gillard?
No, what is it? The radio awards.
Gillet.
Yeah.
Oh,
The Charlie Gillett. Yeah.
Jim.
Yeah.
Mixed
me-
clouds.
okay.
That's lovely Sophie who runs the boat pod and looks
I've been
after
told
us.
off royally.
Yeah. Well,
God.
I don't know what to say.
No.
It's not often that words foul me, but I was thinking, why is it still playing?
I was thinking the same, and I could hear
Hysterical
you
pitch voice.
with a delay.
Anyway, can we do take
Now we
two?
know. Take two, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sophie will get the scissors out and it'll all sound great. The power, the majesty, Jim, of the Power Fountains and Gene's Not Happening. I mean, I just love that kind of mix of you know, their sound with the strings as well.
Yeah.
You know, they were kind of out there on their own, I thought. And Jim, you know, you mentioned that gig, you know, waltzing into the venue in Victoria, you know, looking at your reflection, basking in your beauty.
Oh, yeah.
And then, as if the night could get any better, after seeing how gorgeous you were, you went on to see this amazing
God,
band.
I mean,
Who were you with? Paint a picture for us.
I was on my own.
Oh.
I mean, I'll just imagine the picture that, you know, that people have of me out there in Radioland, you know. See, I remember once.
They know, believe
I
you
know,
me,
but I
they
remember
know.
once. Did I tell you what? I'm sure I told you once when we were on a different radio station, and I was on your Sunday show or Saturday show or both shows, and you know, we you used to call me the Hat Man and stuff. And
Yes.
I went to the local post office near the radio station in Marylebone High Street, And I was talking to the person behind the counter, and this lady comes behind me and kind of taps me on the shoulder and goes, "Are you the Hat Man by any chance?" And I go, "What? Your voice?" I said, "Yes, I am." She said, "Because I always have an image of you with a beard and a hat." That's what I'm saying about the image we portray.
That show was a big show. I'm telling you, it was a big show.
It was.
I remember our boss at one time saying to me that our the station's peak of listeners for One Rager
is that before he sacked you?
was that Sunday afternoon. Roberto knows. I know Roberto knows.
Yeah.
But anyway, great to hear the Power Fountains and Gene's Not Happening. And then in memory of Hugh Ashton of the Skunks and lots of other musical outfits who sadly passed away. We're dedicating that to his memory. We heard the Skunks and the Good from the Bad.
Great.
Okay, Jim, what else have you got as far as Twitter? It's cooking.
It is
cooking on gas.
Cooking, apart from my little mishap there. Scottish Post Punk says, that's a toughie, GC and Jim. The two-tone tour at Edinburgh Tiffany in 1979 was memorable, but it's just peeped by my 21st birthday at the Astoria with Joseph K, Powerhouse and Magazine in 1980. If Carlsberg did 21st parties, birthday parties, it should be like that. So that's
a lovely picture. Yeah.
Average Dude on Twitter says, my first ever concert, Belgian band, Definitivos. Lots of, which are a punk band. I've got one of the singles or two maybe. Lots of concerts done since that time, but let's pick two more that left lasting memories. Front 242 in a small local club. I presume it's Belgium. In a small club back in 1982, and the Swans in September of 1987 at the local venue Limelight. Blah, blah, blah goes again. We mentioned him before. He goes, the Buzzcocks at Newcastle City Hall, circa 79-80. But for the support band, Joy Division, I didn't know them then. Lasted 2 or 3 songs, and though they were shocking, so walked off and into the bar until the Buzzcocks came on. Little did I know, wish I'd stayed. So he walked off,
Yeah, I don't want to rub it in, blah, 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 but I was lucky enough to see the Buzzcocks with Joy Division.
At that gig?
At the Finsbury Park Rainbow.
Oh, wow.
And, my expectations, my anticipation of seeing Joy Division was high. I mean, obviously, the word of mouth about the band was, absolutely beginning to go through
But it was
the roof.
a weird, apart from the fact that they both come from Manchester, I mean, to put the Buzzcocks and Joy Division is a wrong...
Oh no, not at all, Jim. No,
One's
no,
like
no,
a punky
no,
power
I mean,
poppy,
because
the other one's...
this was kind of circa obviously the first album.
Yeah.
So it was transmission time, and we'd heard
a
those,
lot darker than the Buzzcocks.
Yeah,
a lot
but it still worked though. I mean, I thought they complemented them absolutely perfectly, and stating the obvious, you could not take your eyes off Ian Curtis.
No.
I mean, just
I never
an
saw them,
absolutely
but
captivating front person.
Just one more for me from Twitter at GC Punk New Wave. Richard Hoytson says, I have these 4, please GC. Antisocial, were the local support group. So basically he put the tickets online. So I'll read you the tickets rather than what he's saying. The Undertones at King's Hall in Derby. UK Subs, again, at the Derby Ajanta Club. The Buzzcocks at the Assembly Rooms in Derby, and the Clash at the Assembly Rooms in Derby. And then he goes, I have these 4, please GC. Antipasti were local support group in those days. The Buzzcocks were supported by Joy Division, again, which makes it a special one. Wish it was clearer in my memory these days, though. And then he's got pictures of the 4 tickets, Gary.
Lovely, I saw that. Yeah.
Let me just read quickly from the Mixcloud without putting the volume on again. Just a quick one. So Heaven's Mixtape says, Stiff Little Fingers at Newcastle Mayfair in 78. Oh, that must have been great. Sean Foster says, had to leave the Skids at Brighton Top Rank in October 1980 early to catch the last train, so I'd like to see the rest of that show now.
That's good.
That's a good one. Will Wilkis65 says, caught the beat in 2017 with the much missed Rankin Roger. And Ian 1963 replies to one of your questions, Gary, saying, I'm guessing it was Department S supporting the jump at the Rainbow in 79. And he keeps saying, I remember the Vapors were supporting too, but I think that was late at a later tour.
Yeah, no, they supported them a few times, I think, the Vapors. Well, I think Bruce was co-managing the Vapors with Paul's dad, John Weller, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, such, what a reaction as far as Facebook has been concerned today. It's never too late to join in and wax lyrical with your favourite memories of the punk, new wave and reggae gigs that you would love to relive and tell us why. Yeah. Vinny Orsini, afternoon Vinny, posted a little while ago, GC Jim, oh wow, there's just so many I'd love to revisit. One in particular though was a band called the Unholy Trinity at the Clarendon over there in Hammersmith, which is now sadly a bus terminal. They were a breakaway band from the Sid Presley Experience, with the other half going on to form the Godfathers.
Yeah.
They played a short blistering set, and after a melee occurred outside the venue. That's a punch up for you, Jim.
I know.
You beautiful, gorgeous looking young punk new wave types, whatever you were. Obviously, Vinny goes on to say, obviously I'd have to mention the ear-splitting Motorhead, Hammersmith Odeon, and the Ramones in their hardcore phase at the Reading Rock Festival. Oh, and I think Jim will agree to every Killing Joke gig since the dawn of time. Ha ha, remembering all the times at the Hammersmith Palais, it brings a tear to my eye. And just scrolling down, Billy literally posted about 20 minutes ago, there's too many gigs to put up as the very best, Gary and Jim, but one of my favourites was the Rosillos, supported by the Undertones.
Wow.
How's that for a dream pairing? And also Joy Division on First at the Brunel University Uxbridge in 1978. I still have the tickets. So hold on, Billy, that's the Rosillos and the Undertones and Joy Division all on the one bill.
Oh, right.
Wow.
God,
that's got to be right. Yeah, we've done that as a question before, hasn't we?
Yeah.
As far as the dream bills are concerned.
There you go.
That's got to be right up there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, up next we are going to play when Jim did the image, the composite, the collage for the. What are you laughing for?
I don't
for
know,
he's Pete.
I'm seeing,
Coming up to 5 o'clock.
I'm just thinking where your link is going.
He's about to drop off. But when he did ask to do the collage, he asked if I had any suggestions, and of course I said yes, I do, Jim. Would you like to hear
a lot
them?
more than me? Yeah.
Anyway, I came up with the two-tone tours, which he beautifully wove into his collage. And also, I think that first gig that you ever go to is always going to hold a special place. And
not for me though.
Not for you. You weren't there. But
no, but I remember my first gig. It was
your first
terrible.
gig. What was it?
It was John Cale.
Oh right, okay. Well, hold on. Well, why wasn't that great?
It was rubbish.
Oh. How old were you?
15.
49.
50. No, it was 1977 or so. 15.
Oh, okay.
Not many punk bands arrived to Israel at that time. You have to remember.
You were underwhelmed.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, I wasn't. I had a great night in in Battersea back in June of 1977. The Boys supporting these guys.
At first, cause I was probably looking at man. Never she was the only girl I've ever loved. But the folks didn't dig her so much. I was young, serious. To miss your was the world. She was my world now. I thought I'd never live without her, but I got by in time. Well, let me tell you now, some guy that I used to know, man, he changed so much. I think it hurt him to say hello, hardly open smile. Yeah, but he was my best friend a few years ago. Truly inseparable. We were young and full of ideas. You were gonna rule us all world. Something happened, I didn't know why, but that's the way that it goes. I suppose what you said, what you do, don't mean nothing at all. fan anyone, but you know something I don't. So nice to see you tonight, and I'm so glad that you came. So many people understand us, I say, y'all feel the same. Yeah, my phone is in a roundabout way. Give 'em time, you don't always forget. Cause the memory that shot me on to me, yeah, everything now. Oh no, it always will be mine, and no one can take them away.
It is the Boat Pod. Well, it's GC Punk and New Wave coming to you via the Boat Pod on this Wednesday afternoon. It's Jim. What's your name again?
Lahat.
I cannot believe that you left that thing up there, and I know.
Well,
yeah.
the picture wasn't moving,
Pull that
so I just
face
pressed.
as
I
you
know.
should do. Yeah,
I know.
absolutely.
Oh, God, I feel ashamed.
Do you know what, folks?
I can see the radio police
Does
waiting for me
anybody
outside.
does anybody remember the Stone Roses?
Oh, yeah, amateurs.
yeah,
Amateurs. That's me. Okay, I agree.
Oh dear.
And after 30
And what have I got to do?
years.
I've got to clean up after him. That's the job that I've
That's
been
why
left.
it works, though, Gary, because you clean after me.
Does it?
It's like I clean after Johnny. all the poo that he makes.
Let's not go there. Okay, that was Antisocial, by the way,
great story in a
and
second.
Traffic Lights. Ahead of that, of course, it was The Jam, one of many, many standouts from their debut album In the City. I always thought that I Got By in Time could have made a
single.
great single.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
personally, I always thought that. But Jim, tell us about Antisocial,
Right, so
because you've been itching to
because
tell this
it's
story.
one of the best kind of like punk stories there is. There
I'm
are
just going for a
Birmingham-
swim in the Paddington
okay.
Basin.
It
yeah.
might take a while. It's a Birmingham 4-piece, and that's 90. They released this one-off single in 1977, and it's considered as one of the rarest UK punk singles. If anyone's got a copy, I need one. I'll pay. It's worth about £1,000.
Okay.
Now,
How
I mean,
many would have been pressed up?
well,
out of interest?
wait.
Oh.
You jump in the story.
I'm sorry.
So, it says here as well that Paul Morley reviewed the single in NME in January of '78. It was released prior to that in '78, calling it archaic rock song sneered with incongruous but violently necessary contempt. Now, here's the story. The band's label manager, Bob Green, that was on their own label anyway, offered £15,000 to any volunteer who would commit suicide live on stage via guillotine. Nobody took the offer, but the Department of Public Prosecutions were angered and the band was arrested and most copies destroyed.
Oh my God, right. How comes I don't know that story?
That is punk.
Yeah.
That is punk. So hence, it's rare as hen's teeth. And although I've got a massive collection, like one of the, if I don't mind blowing my own trumpet, one of the best in the world, I don't have that single, so that's how rare it is. And I've never seen one.
Something of a treat there.
I played it off a 7-inch, if anyone was looking on Mixcloud, but that's the reissue. And the way you can tell, by the way, because a lot of people try to sell the reissue as an original, is on the reissue, the date of release is 1978. On the 78, on the original, it's 1977. Apart from that, it's very hard to tell.
There you go, fat fans.
Yeah.
I wonder what
So
happened to any of the members.
Don't spend £1,000 on one that's worth about a tenner.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wonder what happened to any of
they
the
got
members
arrested.
of Antisocial.
But what?
No, but
I mean,
I'd be interested
does
to
it
know
get
what
more-
they
does it
what they
get
went
more
on to
punk
do.
than that? I mean, the only thing is, if you commit suicide on stage, what are you gonna do with the 15,000?
Yeah. What's the follow-up going to be? Anyway, we've crossed over into the second hour of the
surreal,
programme.
yeah.
And it's going to get better, it says here. It will get better.
I think it's already got
I
slightly
hope it
better.
gets. Do you?
Yeah.
Okay, we've got all the big mistakes out the way in the first hour. But listen, it's never too late. What is it, Jim? Never too late to join in. If you have just tuned in, we've been asking ever since we first posted this morning on our social media, and since we came on live on air at 4:00, we've been asking for your favourite punk and new wave and reggae gigs, the ones that you'd love to relive. Take us back, paint a picture, what made them so special. If you want to reach out, the two fastest ways of getting in contact are via Twitter, X, we are at GC Punk and New Wave, and on Facebook, and our address on Facebook is Crowley on Air. We're going to play a couple of tunes, and then when I play the first tune, Jim's going to go into the green room and just have a gargle
Is it that time?
with his
Yes,
his throat spray that he likes to drink and sloosh around before he does his 45 revolutions. But a couple of records to get us in the mood. And the first, one of my all-time favourite reggae tunes.
Since music is a school of love, I can talk to Suki rock the musical atmosphere. Yeah. Move it. Yeah. For your naughty is your beauty. I say your naughty is your glory. I say your naughty is your soul. You got to be a nut to go on the MPLA, y'all.
I love dub. I really, really do. One of my favourite examples. Got to play that one on the programme at least once or twice a year. And today is that day, Mr. Lahat. Tabazuki and MPLA dub. It is GC and Jim Lost in Music on this Wednesday afternoon on the Boat Pod. We're coming live from the Paddington Little Venice Basin. Slightly overcast, Jim. But there was a threat of rain a little bit earlier on. I know you were getting a little bit concerned, but it still seems to have held off. And yeah, I hope you're enjoying the music wherever you're plugging in this afternoon.
I've got one of those hair. If it gets wet, I'll become like an afro.
Now listen, it's normally round about this time in the programme that Jim does his, what we like to call, what do we call it again?
45 revolutions.
I was teasing you, see what I did there. And this is where basically Jim digs very, very deep, and believe you me, he can go very, very deep into his extensive record collection, and basically gives us the story behind one particular favourite. A lot of these 45 revolutions, actually, fact fans, have made it onto our GC Punk and New Wave compilations. 1 and 2. Both still available via all the usual places where you buy your music. Yeah, it's not, is it? No. Wind me up like that. Anyway, tell us what you got for this afternoon, Jim.
Okay, another obscurity. A Welsh band from Neath in Wales called the Tanner Runners. Who released 2 singles. This is the first one. It's an EP, actually, in 1981 and 1982. Great story about it. It says, I'll read. We started the band because we were young. One of the band members says, punk came at the right time for our rebellious teens. The main thing was the attitude. Music had become stale and self-indulgent. Even we could play punk. And then he describes one of the gigs. The venue in Swansea was called the Circles Club. The changing room walls were signed by all the bands and the carpet in the club was sticky. In later years, they found a dead body there. This was the first place we played. We had been practicing for a week with a drummer who pulled out on the night. We told our last-minute replacement that we would hold the first note of the song until he got the beat. Anyway, it goes on from there. I just love that attitude. Anyway,
suitably punk.
Yeah. So
the
again,
Tanoramas.
Again, a rare EP. It's called Plastic Land EP from 1981, and from that Plastic Land EP, I'll play basically the title track, which is called Plastic Land.
We're living in a plastic land, where plastic people and plastic bands. Why can't we just be free, live like it ought to be? Why must our lives be demand? Our lives are programmed, that's a fact. Our every move is one big act. We live our lives in art. If we just have the
I thought that you said they were called the Tamaraners.
No, the Tunnel Runners.
So I was doing it
One
in
word.
my David Kid Jensen
Tamarama.
voice. New music from the Tanaramas on this after the
That's
real
the Tina
single
Run.
from Bananarama. But it was the Tunnel Runners.
Yeah.
The Tunnel Runners. And a lovely punky story there. Plastic Land.
Plastic Land, yeah.
The suitably titled.
Yeah, I'll give you the music and the stories. Let me read a couple from
You do.
Mixcloud.
Actually, I'd rather you give me the records, though, because that's worth quite a bit of money, isn't
yeah,
it?
about £500 to £700.
Thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah. Steve-O Music Man says, you were talking on Mixcloud, you were talking about the Victoria venue. One gig really comes to mind was Fat Gadget. Frank was wild that night. Shaving foam all over us, right at the front. What a showman. Sadly gone. Support that night was the Blow Monkeys. Wow. Playing material from their marvelous debut album. Then a great disco afterwards. £3. Great value and memories. Wow. And then Wilkie65 says, 15,000 for a suicide. Gonna struggle to find a worse piece of PR, guys. But that was in 77, Wilkie's. I mean, you know, that was a lot of money in
Add inflation.
77. Yeah.
What would that be now?
Probably $1 million. I don't know. I didn't have 15 grand in 77.
I mean, talking about people like Steve-O remembering the venue in Victoria, Jim, we haven't done this for such a long time, but I do love hearing people's memories of, those particular music venues.
I thought we have done.
Oh, we haven't done it for a
All
long time.
Right.
A long time.
I'll
So
go
maybe
with you.
one of the up-and-coming ones we can do so. Because, I was lucky enough to go to the venue in Victoria a good few times.
Didn't last very long,
It was
did
a
it?
couple of years.
Yeah, but that's
Hysterical
not long,
Pitch Voice,
yeah.
a couple of years. I mean, a lot of people used to just, turn up and admire themselves in the mirrors and not even get past the
Well,
reception.
they should have done really well.
Not mentioning any names.
Who else did I see there? Blancmange.
Yeah, I saw the Stray Cats. I remember once. I don't know whether you would have heard his show, but it was an important radio program in its
Was
way.
that Gary Crowley?
No.
Sunday
No.
roast?
He hadn't even been conceived. He wasn't even born. But no, there was a great presenter, a terrific broadcaster on Radio Luxembourg called Stuart Henry. And Stuart Henry had a program on Luxembourg that put the spotlight on, punk and new wave. I think it was called something like Street Scene. Street was in the title. I remember that. I'll do a little bit of homework
Do you have
very,
a
very
contact
shortly.
details, Gary?
Sadly, Jim, he passed away. Sadly, passed away. He had MS, and there was a charity. There was a charity show, a charity gig in aid of MS at the venue in Victoria. And Jim, some of the people that played that night. I mean, we're talking Dex.
Wow.
We're talking Adam and the Ants. I mean, it was a really
names,
impressive, a really impressive roll call of artists
And
who
that was
came
it
out
for
Stuart.
for
I'm not
Stuart,
sure
right.
whether it was for Stuart personally or whether it was just for the MS charity. But I remember that one being a particularly memorable night. But I saw Nick Cave and the birthday party there, the Bureau. I can remember seeing there. Who else?
Only for
Orange Juice I saw there.
I think I was at the Oranges.
The
Yeah.
Pow Fountains. You
great venue.
you were at the Oranges. You couldn't get out of the reception area looking at your image.
Stop it.
I'm
people,
sorry.
know.
I can't let it go.
Gary, can I read
Okay,
one more from
just one.
Twitter? Just one, yeah.
Just
Noel Deloitte says he agrees with blah blah blah. He says same London Calling Tour, The Clash, Blackburn with Mikey Dread, and before gig heavy dub on the sound system. As a young lad, I'd never heard and felt dub in that way. Forever changed.
Lovely. And
Great story.
Yeah, I mean, some really, really nice ones coming in throughout the day. I'm going to read a brief from Facebook because Jim's been hogging with Twitter this afternoon. You did Roberto's a little bit earlier on. Amanda Austin, afternoon, Amanda, if you're listening live, she says, all the very weird but wonderful bills that were put on by John Curd of Straight Music, where you really thought that the lineups just would not work, but somehow they did.
Did she mention any names?
Well, no, but Stuart came into the conversation and said Aztec Camera supporting Killing Joke was a good. And I mean, you wouldn't have, immediately kind of put those ones together. Rob Quark came into the conversation a little bit later on, conversation, and said The Jam and the Jolt at the Lyceum, summer of 1978. A beautiful venue. great bands, and I stood with Billy Idol and Tony James, one of many, many great shows at the
Yeah,
Lyceum.
but that works. The Jam and the Jolt is an obvious match, you know.
Rob, I don't want to be that guy, Jim. I really don't want to be that guy, but I'm going to have to sort of say this because I've got quite a defining memory of that
Gig.
that gig, because I was at that, Rob, as well. I can vividly, you might want to put your feet up for this, Jim, and put
Okay,
the kettle on.
yeah.
But I can vividly remember getting the bus down from not too far from here, from Edgware Road, and getting off like I normally would do if I was going to the Lyceum on the Strand,
Yep.
and turning into I think it's Wellington Street that the
I think I heard
Lyceum
that story,
is on.
yeah.
Well, no, it was one of the first times that I remember seeing scooters outside
no, it's not the
outside a gig. So this was, as Rob mentions, the summer 1978. So this was kind of pretty early on. You know, the mod revival thing didn't really kind of kick in
Yeah.
and go overground until, if you'll excuse the pun, till 1979. And it was
yeah.
one of the first times that I remember being at a gig and seeing, you know, kind of other kids looking quite moddy, you know. I mean, obviously, you know, there were a lot of kind of punky looking kids there as well. But it was quite a defining moment for me. I thought, oh, something's happening here. And I think summer 1978, Rob might correct me, but the Jam had just released David Watts with A Bomb in Wardour Street on the other side. And of course, they would have been in the studio or about, are you still awake? They were about to go into the studio and record you know, the classic, the influential All Mod Cons. But yeah, I remember that gig so vividly. Michael Mulligan came into the conversation. One more from me, Jim. Again, just talking about these wonderfully eclectic dream bills. Michael says, Gary, this was a decent lineup, and he's basically posted the poster for the London concert for the Miners at the Brixton Academy. How's this for a bill, Jim? Orange Juice, Aztec Camera, and Everything But the Girl.
Ooh, wow.
And Michael goes on to say it was, he says, I think the Wooden Tops also played on that day,
Great band.
evening. He says it was Orange Juice's last ever gig. They finished the set with What Presents. Talk about going out on a high. Anyway, The Clash, understandably, not surprisingly, been getting a lot of love.
Yep.
Mikey Dread also mentioned a fair few times as well. We always like to slip in a Clash favourite, don't we, Jim?
Yep.
I mean, they're kind of like the Clash and the Jam, I suppose, in a way, really, for Jim and me. They're our Beatles and the Stones, aren't they, Jim?
Yes,
You still
they are.
awake over there? Yeah, you just keep saying yes when I leave a pause.
Yes.
Anyway,
Yes.
I thought that we could play this one.
Come to
for a rock. Everybody asks me how she is in bed. Does she feel cold? Does she feel dead? I just tell them that she's alright for me, but she is a little bit heavy. My girlfriend is a rock. My girlfriend is a rock. I used to have one made of wood, but she wasn't very good. I like 'em made of rock. We like to sit and talk. She talks good for a rock. All the neighbors stop and stare. Can't understand what she's saying there. They don't understand rock. Yeah, you ought to see her in the swimming pool. She swims pretty good as a general rule, but she doesn't swim no quite as good as a girl made out of wood. My girlfriend is a rock. She looks like a piece of chalk, or maybe alabaster. I guess I'll have to ask her. She really likes to poke the her feet. She dances pretty good for a piece of concrete. What the heck? She's just a rock. My girlfriend is a rock. You know it's only rock. It's only rock. It's only rock, rock. My girlfriend is a rock. They don't understand rock. Jim, respect is due because you're the one who found that and suggested it for inclusion in the GC Punk and New Wave Volume 2 compilation, and again another record that's lost absolutely none of its
the lyric. I mean, but you see,
power.
my better half, Karen, always says that she really likes the American punk from late 70s, early 80s.
What were they from? Dallas,
Texas,
yeah.
Because I mean that whereas the a lot of the British ones were singing about politics and White Riot, and I mean the American punk bands were mainly kind of, if you think about the Ramones lyrics and that track, the Nerve Breakers, they were quite flat. They had a lot of humor in it.
Yes.
I mean even Devo, I am, Devo, but so anyway, so that
They were kind of seeing the world through sort of a different way, weren't they? Yeah.
Because they weren't living in the UK in the 1970s.
Yeah, so no, it's true.
Yeah,
So it's
probably.
kind of sort of different
Anyway.
and kind of special. Why don't we dedicate that one especially to Ginger, who's listening to the programme in NYC, as he normally does, the first Wednesday of every month when we normally rock up. Jim, we're into the home straight already.
That passed really quick.
Yeah, so start thinking about what you want to play before we have to
start thinking of a throw out for the next show.
Start thinking about let's ask it now. Let's keep it going for a month. Anyway, think about what you're going to play.
Okay.
I'm going to play The Photos. I think I mentioned Barbarella's in Birmingham
They
a
played
little
there
bit
a lot,
earlier on. They did well, and of course they immortalised it in song. That's
Was
right.
that on our first?
So I'm going to play Irene by The Photos. Yeah, was that on our first one?
I think so.
been so
Barbarella
many.
was. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Great song.
Yeah.
But this is equally as good. The Photos, who of course, Jim, fact fans, evolved out of
Hold on.
Oh, there's a smell in here, girls.
I don't know.
Are the drains?
I can't remember.
Are the drains blocked? Hello.
What was it?
I can't believe I've got one over him.
No, because
There's
I
a
remember
first.
it, but
I'll
it's,
give
it's
you a
gonna
clue.
kill me.
Do you want a clue?
Yeah.
Okay. The band that they evolved out of didn't feature Wendy in the lineup, and they were signed to DJM Records.
Satan's Rats.
Oh!
Yeah. I did.
She wears all the latest fashions. You're looking very chic today, Irene. You say you love him with a passion. You stir him up again, Irene, 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 Irene. Ooh, Irene. When she doesn't get the way she cries, when she's got nothing to say, she lies. You've done too much, I'm afraid to say, Irene. Yes, of course, I love your new lipstick, Irene, 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 Irene. Ooh, Irene. Talk much too much, Irene, Irene. You're always telling lies, Irene, Irene. You say you love me with a passion, Irene, Irene. You stir him up again, Irene, Irene. Discotheques and drinking, is that fun? Another one, dear, you know I'm your number one. A Russian job where she was 16, but you got your own way now, Irene, 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 Irene. Ooh, Irene, Irene. Ooh, Irene, Irene.
Years go by and still I try to get you out of my head. The memories I can't forget that you have made. 'Cause when I turn my radio on, hear the DJ play my favorite songs. Radio songs, radio songs. I need to hear those radio songs. Radio songs. hoping, praying you'll come back to me again. 'Cause when I turn my radio on, hear the DJ play my favorite songs. Radio songs, radio songs. I need to hear those radio songs. Radio songs, radio songs. I love to hear those radio songs.
Hi there, you're tuning your favorite radio station, and this is your number one DJ here on The Breakfast Show, welcoming you to another day's broadcasting. How are you this morning? I know how you feel. I felt that way myself when I got up a couple of hours ago. Anyway, we're all yours with all the best in music for the rest of today. So let's get underway with this week's number one across the nation.
Radio songs, radio songs, oh. Radio songs, oh. 'Cause when I turn my radio on, hear the DJ play my favorite songs. Radio songs, radio songs. I need to hear those radio songs. Radio songs, radio songs. I love to hear those radio songs.
It's late, it's dark, it's raining. I'm cold and I'm wet. I've waited at the bus stop, put it in. Go, yeah, I missed the last bus home. I'll have to walk. I spent an hour too long with you without kisses, and now don't miss the last bus home. I'll let my heart dictate the last bus home. Whoever said that love ever thinks straight. Miss the last bus home. I'll let my heart dictate the last bus home. Whoever said that love ever thinks straight. It's a half-hour walk. I know so well. I'll pass another 5 people, all will the same story to tell. Miss the last bus home, the last bus home. I'll have my heart dictate the last bus home, the last bus home. Whoever said that love ever thinks the last bus home, the last bus home. If they had their hearts, don't you know it when the last bus home, the last bus home. I miss the last bus. I miss the last bus. I miss the last bus home. I miss the last bus home.
The Boyfriends, who of course, Jim, were the band that former vibrator Pat Collier would go on to form. I saw them a couple of times, Jim, right at the very beginning of their story, and I was a big fan.
It was a short story,
It
wasn't
was
it?
a short story.
Yeah.
It was only a few singles. I don't think they ever made an album. That of course, was produced by the late great Martin
Russian,
Russian.
yeah.
In fact, we've got another Martin Russian production coming up next. But I always thought that they had so much potential, the Boyfriends, and for a raft of reasons, it just wasn't realised. I mean, they were signed by Andrew Lauder, who, of course, was one of the great A&R men at United Artists Records
Yeah,
back in the late 1970s. I mean, you think about the bands that
Buzzcocks.
Andrew signed. 999, Dr. Feelgood.
Did he sign the Buzzcocks to
The
United
Buzzcocks
Artists?
he
Yeah.
signed as well. In fact, his book is worth a read. I know that you're not a great reader yourself, are you?
No.
It's literally just the
Pictures.
The
It's got pictures. It's got lots of big pictures. Big pictures. Big
the
pictures.
photographic coffee books is what he
My
likes.
favourite is
and-
menus with pictures.
and also record catalogues. He's very good at reading,
Yeah.
and also things like the Sporting Life and the Racing Post as well. It keeps him off the streets. But anyway, we went
shipping weather.
we went off on a tangent there.
Yeah.
So the Boyfriends, Last Bus Home. I love that. I mean, it had a kind of a sort of Elvis Costello and the Attractions sort of vibe to these Cauliflower is. Ahead of that, Jim, it was the Strike. And
Sorry, I was
is
reading
that
something that's funny.
is that radio songs?
Yeah,
it's called.
well,
Yeah,
yeah,
I think they
on-
say it about a million times.
Yeah,
In the,
Northern Irish band from Belfast
Yeah.
that released just the one single.
Well,
really.
and what a single! And then we
Yeah.
kicked off that 3-play with the Photos, who of course were fronted by Wendy Wu, and as we mentioned a little bit earlier on, featuring a couple of the members of Satan's Rat,
Satan's Rat, which I love. Yeah,
who was signed
DJM.
to DJM Records. What other punk and new wave bands did DJM?
Fruit Eating Bears.
Were they signed to DJM?
DJM, yeah, one single.
Wasn't there a Ricky and the?
Ricky in the Last Days of Earth.
There you
One
go.
of
Just
the first
checking his.
one
See,
of
this
the
is why
first
we
singles
meet
I
up.
bought.
We meet up. One
City of the Damned.
1 month.
Great single. We have to
one
play that next
day
time, Gary.
a month, just to check whether our memories are
Ricky
still up.
Sylvian, but it was called later Ricky
Why don't you
Sylvian.
bring that in for the next
Yeah,
program?
I've got the original
I won't be you.
7-inch.
Enjoy
I
it.
yeah, thank you.
Anyway, we kicked it off with the Photos and Irene. I hope you're enjoying the music. It is Gary Crowley and Jim Lahat with you all the way through until 6 o'clock. Go on.
No, just to read a couple from that'll put a smile on your face.
Something's been said.
From Mixcloud. Yeah, Steve on Music Man says, I also remember the venue. There was always a delay getting in, as some guy wouldn't move. Apparently, he was admiring himself in the mirror.
I'm telling you, North London's Dorian Gray. Yeah.
Anyway,
well spotted, Steve.
Wilkis65 says, as far as gigs goes, going back to a gig in 1983, the Respond tour, when they visited Canterbury Art College, Tracy, The Questions, Vaughan, Paul Weller, and his dad turned up. Could have easily met him 40 years later, still waiting. Time machine, please. So, yeah, but then let's go back to Twitter quickly, Gary.
That's another question that
What,
we could
meet
ask.
people?
Well, Jim, please put these
Yeah.
into the idea box,
we forget.
honestly,
I've-
because you
I've
forget them by
watched
the
that.
time we get up to
Yeah,
your
I
car.
know, yeah.
Who would you like to have met?
Yeah.
Who did you come close to meet?
Who would you have met?
Actually, and
Who-
another-
come on. Who would you have? Who have you met that you were regretted?
Well, that,
I've got a few
yeah.
of them.
Okay,
Yeah.
and also another question that was inspired by one of the comments a little bit earlier on. Whose concert did you have to leave early?
Oh yeah,
For whatever reason. Well, the reason would be probably pretty obvious.
bus
yeah.
home,
But whose gig did you have to leave early?
Yeah.
What did you miss?
Okay, let me read a few
I'm
from
cooking on gas now. See, look, we're
Twitter,
an
yeah.
hour and
I
50
forgot all
minutes
those.
into the
I
show.
forgot all those.
And I've come alive. We need to do a 4-hour show. We need to pick it up, Jim. Go on.
Gary, I'm barely alive now. At GC Punk New Wave, Phil Withell says Dead Kennedys at Sheffield Leadmill is a particular highlight.
I never saw the Dead
No, me
Kennedys,
neither.
no.
Some of my early Damned gigs are a bit hazy. Would like to revisit those. And this one, and it's a poster of the Damned 40th anniversary tour he's got there. John McKay says The Clash, 1978, first gig, so will always be my fave.
Yeah.
Next one is Stiff Little Fingers at the Barrowlands for St. Patrick's Day. Ooh, that would have been a great one. Steve Hackett, surely not the guy that was in Genesis, says Killing Joke with Play Dead at Digbeth Civic Hall
Wow.
on the Fire Dance tour. The heat was unbearable, and there was a real tension, no pun intended, boom boom.
I bet
in
Steve's
the
never
air.
heard that before.
Yeah, in the air. And the Cramps on the Date with Elvis tour at Wolverhampton Civic Hall as well.
There's the radio police. They're coming to get us. Yeah.
Terminal Monkey says the Fall in Dublin, 82, supported by the Golden Horde, and Buzzcocks in Dublin in 78. Stephen Marlowe says, hi chaps, I would love to go back to the 25th of February 1980, very specific, Bournemouth Village Bowl, and see the Rats again. I think they only played one more gig the day after. What a great live band. Caroline, lovely Caroline, says, morning GC and Jim, the Jam Apocalypse Tour, November 78, Birmingham Odeon. I couldn't believe 3 people made that sound. What a time to see them. Also, my 18th birthday, John Fox's Ultravox, that's the first lineup of Ultravox. Barbarella's was a very special night.
I
love a club venue. See you later. That's it.
Okay, we mentioned Ginge a little bit earlier on, who's a regular listener, and he's one of my oldest pals. Listens in,
Big
New
Apple.
York, New York City. That was easy for me to get out. And he's just WhatsApped me his poster for the Clash at Acklam
that's a great
Hall,
poster,
which was Christmas Day. I'm guessing, looking at that poster, Ginge, when are we talking? 1978, 1979?
That's an early poster, yeah.
I think I was at that. Ginge, was I at that? Can you remind me? I've been claiming to be at every other gig.
Well, you had the Sex Pistols at the Henry Club, Gary.
I was there.
Like
I was
10,000
there.
people said, and there was only about 10.
No, I've never seen the Sex Pistols. You did.
Well, we did at Finsbury Park.
No, I never went to that.
did
No,
you?
I gave my tickets to my brother-in-law, Dave.
No, I went to that.
And Dave still to this day rubs it in. You missed one of the greatest
It
gigs
was
of
good,
all time.
yeah. But,
everyone
I would
said.
have loved to see them, obviously,
Yeah.
in 76, 77 at the height.
But
of...
still, that gig at Finsbury Park, you know, people get emotional
I'm not a
talking
fan of
about
reunions,
it.
Gary. You know that.
Yeah.
I'm just not a fan of reunions. But, yeah, I mean...
Yeah, you came together,
people-
back together for our reunion, though,
Yeah.
didn't
Oh,
you?
yeah, but this is different, yeah.
Ginge, let us know if I was at that Clash gig and I can put that on my... I
Did
was
you
there.
know Ginge back then?
I was there. Yeah.
Oh,
we
right,
used
okay.
to go to gigs. Yeah, there was a
right,
gang of us. Vaughan and Tony,
That's
Tony
fun
Lorden.
to lose people from Department
Yeah,
S.
and Tony Lorden, who with Vaughan was in Guns for Hire, who
right.
then became Department
Department S, yeah.
and also a lovely lad called Bethnal Bob as well, amongst many others as well. But that was the kind of nucleus. Anyway, back to the music. Jim, this is one that you wanted to hear from one of your favourite compilations of the last year
Yeah.
or so.
Yeah. The Autonomy, the Martin Russian collection, available now on Ace Records.
Destination Venus, more than darkness lies between us. 20 million miles of bleakness, human weakness. Holding my receiver, I can feel you coming nearer. Probing through the airways, clearer, clearer, clearer. Destination Venus,
My heart was never slow.
Destination Venus.
Where you are, I'll always go. I hear your voice on the radio.
Further modulation of the frequency rotation triggered waveband activation. Near elation. Somewhere in the distance, I could hear a voice one instance, then it faded from existence. No persistence. Destination Venus.
My heart was never slow.
Destination Venus.
Where you are, I'll always go. I hear your voice on the radio.
Destination Venus. Only darkness lies between us. 20 million miles of weakness. Human weakness. Can you feel me coming nearer? Probing through the airways clearer. Clearer, clearer. Destination Venus.
My heart was never slow.
Destination Venus.
Where you are, I'll always go. I hear your voice on the radio.
Destination Venus.
My heart was never slow.
Destination Venus.
Where you are, I'll always go. I hear your voice on the radio. I hear your voice on the radio. I hear your voice on the radio.
Hear your voice on the radio. Hear your voice on the radio. Keep coming through 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 on the radio.
Well, how special were they? And also, Jim, how special was Martin Rushent as
Yeah,
well?
yeah.
I mean, I've said it before on previous programmes, but this really was an absolute joy to compile with those cool folk at Ace Records. And yeah, my love affair with Martin Rushent, my musical love affair with Martin Rushent began when I first heard the Stranglers. You're right over there.
Yeah, I'm
eh?
packing.
I mean, I'm doing the last
I'm
link
out,
here.
I'm off.
And he's
See ya.
dismantling the studio.
Got a puppy at home.
Really?
Got a puppy at home waiting for me. Licking.
Anyway, I forgot what I was going to say now. Yeah,
Martin Rushent, Stranglers.
First became aware of Martin's work, his name on the label for Get a Grip on Yourself, and then immediately after seeing his name on records by the Buzzcocks and 999, you started to associate him with quality, and what a career he went on to have. Yeah, that's taken from Autonomy, the productions of Martin Rushent, which I had a hand in compiling, and that is almost about it,
Yeah,
Jim. It's
another one passed.
absolutely
Flew
flown by.
Yeah.
And I think we got away with it.
Yeah, apart from that.
I got very, very nervous when I heard that siren going a couple of minutes. I thought that the IBA, the radio police, were on their way. But we do seem to have got away with it. But thanks to everybody for
We're still going to
reaching
leg
out.
it just in case.
As always, that's a given, just in case. Listen, just to say thank you to Soph, and also nice to meet Mitzi today as well. Jim, we'll be back to do
In
it
April.
all again. And we're going to leave you with a beat who've been mentioned by the likes of Roberto and Stu. We've been talking over the past 120 minutes about those shows that we would love to relive, and a lot of people talking about seeing the beat first time round, and also recently, of course, they're still going strong. I mean, I've been lucky enough to see them a couple of times over the last few years, and they never disappoint. Until next time.
Bye bye.